everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. I'm Simona.
I'm Amy.
And today we'll be talking about Disney's 2019 animated musical fantasy film Frozen 2. This film is set 3 years after the events of the first film. Elsa, Anna, Kristoff, and Olaf embark on a journey to uncover the source of Elsa's magical gifts. And this journey will take them beyond the borders of the kingdom of Arendelle and into the unknown. I just had to go with that pun.
It's good. It's good. I see where it went. So, do you want to start off or?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did watch the first film around the time that it came out. It was my niece's favorite, so I saw it a few times. I don't really think I enjoyed the story as much as I did the second one. I found that the second film was more engaging. The musical score is also very nice. I mean, there were a few songs that are funny, but not really to my taste. So I do like Elsa's, I guess it's her theme song. And I can't recall what the song is actually titled, but when that mysterious voice is calling to her, I think it's a very beautiful song.
Into the Unknown?
Yes. Oh, that's what it is called. Okay. Yeah. It's a very pretty song. I did like it.
Mm-hmm.
The visuals of this film are really good. I enjoyed the sequence when Anna is talking with Olaf. It's that whole thing where they're talking about, because Olaf is going through a period of adolescence. So he's sort of fearful that with the change, well, he's not physically changing, but mentally he's changing, that with these changes, other things will change. And this is sort of Anna's way of sort of, don't worry about it. While things change, some things will remain the same. And there's that beautiful sequence when they're walking through the town and it's fall. And I found it is fall, right? In Arendelle?
Yeah.
Because of pumpkins. So I found that very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Another sequence that I loved is when they first enter that magical forest.
Mm-hmm. I do want to like point out something in that song in Some Things Never Change. Like an old stone wall that will never fall. And Olaf is hopping on the wall and a piece falls off of it, which is like super foreshadowy, which I didn't realize until I saw it this time, of everything changing. And, it like an old stone wall that will never fall. Some things are always true. And so Olaf is hopping and like the brick he's hopping on falls off and he falls. And like, it was a nice foreshadow of like every single thing changing by the end of the movie. And like, though everybody is alive again at the end, everybody goes through tremendous loss.
Yeah, and that's since Amy was going to be talking about themes. That is one theme that's constantly present throughout the film: the theme of growth, the theme of change, the theme of fear and uncertainty surrounding change, and especially with Elsa's character. She, while she seems to have accepted and embraced herself, I don't believe that she's really fully embraced her role as the queen. She obviously still feels sort of stifled by this role. So she's also trying to break free and to sort of come into her own as well, which she does at the end of this film.
Right.
What I did love is that while there is change, while Elsa and Anna go their separate ways, separate does not mean complete isolation and sort of breaking apart of their bond. Like Elsa is with like her people. Anna assumes, the position of Queen of Arendelle, but they still communicate. Even though they've both found their places, it's not like they never talk to each other again. They never see each other again, which is what I liked, because for me, I'm very big on, I hate the idea of separation. Like just because you grow, you have to separate or like never see each other again. So I did like that they still are in contact. They still are very much, their bond of sisterhood is just as strong as it ever was, but they're both happy. They both found what they're meant to do. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Oh, there are so many things that I wanted to say. I should write notes in the middle and then I'll lose track and then it will be really bad. But um, that they did separate. And I noticed like all throughout the movie, I was actually looking this time. And the last time when Anna kept like being like, are you starting something? Every time he tried to propose. Um it felt like, wow, that's a poor Kristoff, and that's like a comedic ploy. But I mean, I think it did have more significance than that because like she had to spend all her time making sure her sister didn't die. That was what she did. That was her job, taking care of Elsa, because Elsa clearly can't handle, too much before she just goes into self-isolation. And
She's very
there was
impulsive.
right. Well, there wasn't a lot of trust, and the parents have a lot to do with that too. They're just like, well, we'll just hide you and don't show your powers to anyone, and you'll be good. They didn't give her a very solid base for a self identity.
Yeah.
So and I watched a video. It's sadly I don't remember who it was, but basically like he went through some problems he had with this movie and how they could have been fixed. And he said, part of it is that like her parents left her with this just tragic view of her magic as just only being able to hurt, there being no cure for it, like, and to find out that they were trying to find out more about her magic was good. But then like immediately she's like, oh, this is my fault too.
Yeah.
So Elsa just doesn't have a lot to go on in terms of what does her identity mean. And then she had no socialization either. Like she just stayed in her room. She didn't talk to anyone. She probably had food served like outside and she'd pick it up. How can she be queen after that? She doesn't know how to rule. She doesn't know how to people.
Very true. And I think I also was watching some videos which were critiquing the film. And one video that I watched, the YouTuber actually had clips of deleted scenes that obviously never made the film.
Right.
And going through those deleted scenes, this YouTuber felt that had they been included, the story would have had a more stable kind of arc, and things that are present in the current, basically the current release, or before the director's cut, would have made more sense.
Right. I heard that too, like a similar, and and that somebody pointed out that there's a commercial where the Paw Patrol says something that he never actually says in the final cut of the movie. And and Iduna singing at Atahalan, and they're doing this duet about about how this is who she really is and all this stuff. Why the heck is Iduna even there? Because if she was that connection, like if there was more of a storyline about Iduna, it would have made a whole lot more sense, just then, well, mama has come back from the grave to tell me I'm all that in a bag of chips. It kind of falls a little flat and it just gets confusing.
And I think also the YouTuber who was incorporating the deleted scenes, I think the writers, which I think is part of the problem, and I understand deadlines exist, they didn't have a clear focus. I think up until the last minute, they were still scrambling to put a story together. And I think that shows, because if the intention was all along, okay, and I can understand the second film will have more revelations, but if the revelation surrounding Elsa and Anna's mother was part of the overall story from the very beginning, why aren't there hints of that? Because her mother grew up in a magical forest. Her mother grew up surrounded by magic. So magic was not a foreign concept to the mother. So her reaction to her daughter's magic, I can understand maybe, okay, I'm not exactly sure how this magic works, but I'm aware of magic. I know that it's not something to be feared if wielded in the right way. Now we're going to try to work something out. Let's try to figure out what's going on. Instead, you get this feeling like Elsa's a ticking time bomb, and her parents are, they just isolate her. And then when you get to the second film, even the father was aware of, the magic. To me, it doesn't make sense. It definitely feels like an afterthought because there's no foreshadowing or hints of it in the previous film.
Right. I mean, I definitely think they were looking for some backstory for this one. And, I think in terms of things that didn't have any real note in the first movie is the Northaldrins. The whole tribe of Northaldrins, which is actually based on the Sami people, who are a nomadic, or were. They've kind of lost a lot of that nomadic aspect, but they live further north, and they herd reindeer, and they eat reindeer, and they wear a reindeer, and and they have a very close relationship to the land. And so I saw that as coming sort of out of the blue, except the beginning of the first Frozen, they're singing the same song. And you're like, what the heck is that? Like, that's like, da 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 da.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. I completely forgot about that.
So that was the intro before they start, and I've seen this so many times. I haven't memorized. I have not seen it in quite a while. They're like chopping the ice. That's the intro, is like the men chopping the ice. And
yes, I remember what you're talking about. Okay.
So, that kind of tied up for me, like where that even came from. Like, oh, that's like the music of the first people, and they're related to them, and that makes sense. So so I thought that was an interesting bring back. I also do not understand why, like, they left when I think Elsa was like 17, Anna was like 14, something like that. Why wouldn't they ever have told them that mom was like from the Northaldrins? Like, it just that made no sense. Or maybe she didn't even tell the father. Like, you do see her like jumping into the wagon with the unconscious prince. So
like I said, I don't mind, more revelations. It's expected. I don't expect to know everything about a character in the first film, but I still believe in at least hints to it. But anyway, I don't have an issue with the current film that, okay, the mother is from these magical people, that part I've sort of accepted,
right.
I did enjoy, like, one of the funniest moments was when the Northaldrins, when it's revealed that the king's soldiers have been there, I'm assuming for like 30 years or more,
something like that,
having that face off, and all of a sudden, like, Elsa freezes and they start sliding and they're all like dumbstruck. I thought that was one of the funniest moments. I kind of thought that the captain and the leader of the Northaldrins would sort of get together, but no, he has his love back home, which is fine. But I liked those interactions. They were very funny. I loved the fire spirit, that little salamander.
Oh my God.
Is so cute. Like, I could have just, like, if they would have gotten rid of Olaf and he becomes the sidekick, I would have been so happy. And that's a part of the film that I didn't work for me. The Olaf character, I don't find him endearing. I find him a little annoying. And I'm sorry, like, I know there are people that do like him, and I understand he serves a purpose. And it is very touching when, he realizes that he's dying, and he sort of has this maturity, and he basically realized that even in this painful moment, he has to comfort Anna. So I did appreciate that moment. But sometimes I find, and this is an issue I have, and I've mentioned this before, so I'm not going to go too far into it, that I have with a lot of children's films, is the comedy borders on cartoonish. And I think it's sort of belittling to children where it's like, okay, well, in order to keep their attention, let's have this cartoonish snowman that's really annoying. Like,
I don't
it
know.
just
I mean,
bothered me. I don't
I
know.
definitely see your point. However, it's really dramatic. You know, they're scary scenes, and
Mm-hmm.
Olaf being a goofball is a nice like little break from that. And also like a little warning, a little like
Mm-hmm.
it's showing like nothing too bad is gonna happen, guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
When he is like when they're walking through the forest and it's super scary and he's like, this will all make sense.
Yeah.
And like
I did enjoy that number when he's like walking and he was like, oh, I'm sure it'll all be fine. He just keeps like
yeah,
you gotta enjoy his optimism.
yeah,
I do
yeah.
like that. That was kind of funny. I did love the rock giants. I think
Hmm.
the part that I really enjoyed the most was when they're in the magical forest,
Hmm.
seeing all these creatures. Like I loved the giants. Like one of the freakiest moments is when when Anna and Olaf are in that boat that Elsa made, and Anna realizes, oops, we're passing the giants, and she's like, shh.
Yeah.
They're like
Well,
sinking through.
as an aside on that, I have some problems with that. You know, Anna lost her parents too. It was a little me centric. Like I killed our parents, and you know, we just got to see the last place they were alive, and an ice sculpture of them hugging together while the wave took them out. You know,
Mm,
and there was no like Elsa was just like, I gotta do what I gotta do, and then like putting her in a boat with Olaf and just like saying like good luck y'all. I mean clearly had no idea where she was sending them,
mm-hmm.
and Anna like works her butt off to protect Elsa, and that scene where Elsa's just like, I have to do this alone, and just kicks them up into, you know, into the river, was kind of horrible. And like, you know, and also just to come back for a second to Olaf in general, you know, yes, he's sort of annoying, but he's really childlike. And, you know, whether that isn't like necessarily like as annoying as Olaf is maybe not true, but you know, that he in explaining things to him, they
Mm-hmm.
explain things to children.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason to have this kind of juvenile creature so that they can, you know, like bring it down a little bit to their
Mm-hmm.
level.
Mm-hmm.
And oh gosh, what was I going to say? I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. And like I said, there are moments when, you know, the humor of his character worked for me. I guess
Mhm.
other not so much. But I wanted to go back to the point that you mentioned about Elsa and her treatment of Anna. Because it's very, sorry, ooh, sorry. Because it's very much that Elsa does not trust Anna to be, I think, competent enough to be able to handle herself.
Mhm.
What I appreciate about this film, and even Anna even demonstrates this in the first film as well, that she is very resourceful, she is very intelligent, and she is brave. She
Mhm.
does not see herself as brave, but she is,
Right.
even more so than Elsa is. And she also is the least self-centered of the
Right.
sisters. Now,
She's
one could
not gonna,
argue,
right. She doesn't close off
yeah.
everybody. She and I, you know, at the end of something stay the same or whatever that's called. That one.
Mhm,
Um, everyone passes Anna. Like Elsa passes Anna, Olaf
mhm,
passes Anna,
mhm,
Kristoff and Sven.
mhm.
You know, it's definitely her holding like everybody together. Like Elsa would be a total loner if it weren't for Anna.
And
And
another thing that this person who was I think both YouTubers I listened to mentioned is like the whole arc of Kristoff. No, after a while, the whole failure at proposing, I kind of agree, it lost the humor, especially considering, okay, I understand you really want to propose and you're terrible at it. I understand.
Mhm.
Now you're in a magical forest, time is ticking, there's an imminent danger, and you're still worried about, I need to propose. And it takes him to practically the end of the film to sort of get his act together and say, okay, Anna, what do you need me to do? And I'm saying, like, why couldn't that have been done sooner? Like, the humor,
Yeah.
the
I
gap of
see.
it constantly failing, sort of, okay, like,
Right.
not funny anymore. Like,
I think it wasn't, I mean, it was funny and it was supposed to be handled as like a funny thing, but
mhm,
I mean, I think that Anna like purposefully misunderstood
mm,
because like either consciously or unconsciously, she did not want to go into a life or death situation, like
mhm,
potentially hitched to someone who's going to be like a widower before they even got married.
mhm,
And, so he's fumbling, but they've been together for 3 years.
yeah,
You would know that this is his goofy way to try and get things done.
mhm,
It's I always laugh about this, and my husband's gonna be annoyed with me, but um when we got married, he always loses stuff when he's stressed out. That's his thing.
mhm,
Um And so when we were like about to get married, literally like about to get married, he was standing at the altar. They just told me like, you're going to be walking in a minute. Then the guy came back and said, there's going to be a slight delay. And, he was definitely talking to me like I was going to lose my marbles. And I,
mhm.
and I said, what is it? And he's like, well, Dan left the marriage license at the hotel. And I started laughing because that's the way, that's who I was marrying. Like I knew
Mhm.
exactly what I was getting into. And he's in the next room and he is embarrassed. So did it.
Oh.
Um, but like if she'd really if I can't imagine she hadn't been waiting after 3 years. Um, and she would know how he would enter into something like this, being nervous. He would kind of
Mhm.
be sort of like bleh, and choose his words badly.
Yeah.
So I think that it wasn't as offhand as we kind of thought it was the first like watchings of it.
Mhm.
So that's my 2 cents on that. And I was like, actually, my first note was just poor Christoph. And then I realized like, oh no, it's just like that is Anna like saying, no, thank you, please, about it right then.
Yeah, yeah, and I did like his ballad power song. I was trying to figure out what they were modeling it on.
Oh, the 80s. It was
Well,
a power ballad. Was
I
it?
got the 80s. Was it
Yeah.
was it was it referencing like a particular song or was just like 80s?
There were definitely like a few songs mixed in.
Hmm.
What's his name? I don't know if it's like Rickrolled guy. But they're like his songs. Now I have to look into it. Like, oh gosh, it's like you're like I will rescue you. I'm your knight. 80s night song. Let's look this up.
Hmm.
80s night rescue song. Let's see what I get here. Um, not let's see. Ultimate classic rock. Let's see. 10 songs to play while you're saving the day. I'm gonna have to like we're gonna have to like put this in. I'll just look the whole time and then I'll be like, wait, I know. Uh I don't know. Um oh, like a knight in shining armor from a long time ago. Um
Hmm.
armor song. Oh. just in time, I'll save the day, take you to your castle far away. And it's like the same. Oh, Glory of Love, Peter Cetera.
Oh, I'm not, I don't.
Yeah, if you listen to that, you'll be like, oh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I never, like, even with the way, like, the close-ups of his face, okay, like, I know they're modeling after some kind of 80s power ballad, and that's
Yeah.
funny. I did like the scene, the bonding moment between him and one of the what are they called?
North Aldrin.
North Aldrins, when he says, like, oh, we have a courtship that involves
Oh my God.
like, it was just so funny. And we're like, when he says, will you marry me? And you see the leader goes like, very nice, but no, thank you. And she's just like,
Right.
tell him,
Yeah.
it's like,
They went north. So
it's
that
just
was
really fun.
that was
Funny.
really well done. I loved that. That was a really nice thing. Um, let me see. That's I'm just looking at my notes to make sure that um I mean, okay. Oh, Anna's song, Do the Next Right Thing. Oh, I mean, this was the first time I wasn't crying too hard to understand the words. And actually, like, it's funny because this came out, I can't remember, it was like fall or summer of 2019. And it became free on Disney like maybe a month and a half, if that, into quarantine. And so like it really it reminds me of that a lot. Because we watched it a lot because we had nothing else to do. And and there are some, like, Do the Next Right Thing was definitely something that was in my head a lot, because like literally nobody has been in this situation before, and all you can do is what you think is right. And there was like no understanding about what COVID was, how you could get it, and and the government response was interestingly done. uh, and there was just so much lack of knowledge, and you just had to figure it out on your own, and it was terrifying. And then if you got sick, all you could do, or somebody you loved and were in charge of got sick, all you could do was be like, well, I did the best I could. And Olaf has a line at the beginning, right after the spirits make everybody leave the town, which actually my husband pointed out was them being like, you got to kill this town, you got to sacrifice the dam, get out of here, which I totally didn't get. But I wrote it down exactly because like that was so important to me. Like I would say this to myself, I would say this to Dan, like when like Ellie was doing something crazy that I gave her permission to do, because and so Olaf says, while like the kids are like decorating him with the ice shards, and he says, we're calling this game Controlling What We Can When Things Feel Out of Control. And like, this was such a good movie to come out during the whole crazy thing, because of of the kind of healing instructional feelings, and dealing with loss, that is so crushing. And and how, what do you do? Like, okay, I can't do anything, so I will get up and I will instruct myself to take one step, and once that step is done, I will instruct myself to take another. And that's all you can do sometimes.
No, it's very true. And like I said, that theme of learning to sort of adapt to change and that you can't always preempt what's going to happen is definitely runs throughout the film. But I wanted to go back to the whole thing about water having memory. And those were some of also the loveliest scenes when the water takes the form. And that kind of reminded me of a film that I watched called What the Bleep Do We Know? And that's actually the title. Um,
Yeah.
and it talks about water and this experiment that was done. I think it was done in Japan, where they took bottles of water and they wrote positive attributes on the bottom of the bottle, like, beautiful, kindness. And they analyzed the water crystals, and the formations that they took were gorgeous. And then they wrote words like, you're ugly, I hate you, die. And if you look at the water crystals, there's almost like trauma has been done to the water. And I found it amazing. Now, some people may think that's like hocus pocus, but I take the attitude, you never know.
Right.
Saying basically that since we're made up mostly of water, if this is what negative words does to water, what does negativity do to us?
Right.
How does the negativity of others impact us on a, like, not a physical, but even a deeper kind of level?
Right.
So when I was watching this movie, the whole idea of water having memory, I'm constantly reminded of that. So I liked that moment. I also like how Olaf is the one spitting the knowledge out. Like, did you know that water has this and what? So
Yeah.
I like
Unfortunately,
that.
I didn't have time to look up all of those facts because I really wanted to. Especially, I do not think turtles breathe out of their butts. I do not think that is backed up.
Do we want to look that up?
Like a live search.
Yes.
Do that, but I can go ahead and look that up.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
please do. I feel negative about it. But I did not notice when Olaf dies and and all of his flakes are going away and I didn't cry this time. It just took like 40 watches or something. It all of his snowflakes were collected by the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were just kind of like, I did not realize that the wind was carrying them away to put them somewhere safe. And the little adorable flame lizard was watching. And it was very funerary,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I felt the symbolism of it, but I didn't realize that she carried his body off. And if I had, I would have taken another hour to recover.
So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I have, and what article? This is McGill, Office for Science and Society. So it says, technically, this is related to whether turtles breathe through their behinds. So technically, the term is called cloacal respiration. I hope
they do.
and it's not so much breathing as just diffusing oxygen and carbon dioxide out. But the fact remains, when turtles hibernate, their main source of oxygen is through their butt. So, yes, turtles breathe.
A little bit below that is the pressing question of do turtles fart? And they do indeed. So
do what fart?
do turtles fart?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. Like, that's less respiration than farting, but the intake would be.
So it says this breathing process is fairly common amongst amphibians and reptiles and is properly called cutaneous respiration. Besides the turtle butt breathers, notable users of cutaneous respiration include frogs, salamanders, and sea snakes.
Huh.
That, listeners, is your science fact for the afternoon. You're welcome. Olaf was correct.
Yay, Olaf. I'm going to be very excited to tell my daughter that when we're done with this recording. She will be very fascinated. And it's like we've meant to look that up for the whole time we've seen this movie. We're like, we gotta know if that's true. So what else? What are my other notes? Need to make sure I have you can speak. I'm just
Oh, okay.
I
all
like
right.
nobody has to like observe me going through my notes. It's
Okay.
not that formal or revered an activity.
Okay, let me see. I didn't have too many notes on this. Well, I remember one critique that a viewer had regarding the ending of the film, how there's no real sacrifice on the part, like the town doesn't get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether that's just because since it is a film
Right.
towards children, there needs to be like, I think if you would have seen a scene of, the entire town getting swept away in the waves, I don't know how that would have been handled unless
Right.
to evacuate everyone, which at that
Well, they were all evacuated.
time,
Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of feel maybe it was because it's a children's film that they didn't want to show that. But that was one critique, how there's no real
Mhm.
sacrifice, how everything ends happily.
Right.
Basically, there's this buildup that the dam is going to destroy everything.
Yeah. I mean,
But nothing happens. I mean, I didn't have too much of a problem with that because I'm more on the end of I like happy endings. Like
yeah.
the logical part of my brain will say logically this should happen, but the desire for happiness sort of overrides. I'm like, I'm perfectly okay with everyone surviving and not getting
Yeah.
swept away in a watery grave. I'm perfectly okay with that film
Right.
decision. Another moment that
Oh,
I liked was
I
Water
just wanted to
Horse.
follow up on that too, though.
Sure.
Before we leave that topic.
Sure.
I read another thing. We really should just have a sources cited page. I read a thing somewhere on the webs about reparation to the first people, and that this is
Mhm.
like a very heavy-handed message that the only sacrifice that you can do, like the only thing you can do to for first people anywhere, or or people of color, that reparations have to be so severe
Mhm.
that you are then in desperate need of assistance. But and that it was a super heavy-handed point to take. But the same article said that even though this made it seem like an all or nothing thing, instead of just like maybe having more reasonable expectations about equalizing society and stuff like that, but there's nothing really that does discuss this, so that they took a stab at it was pretty noble.
No, definitely. And just to touch on it, because the mention how it seems kind of drastic, and I won't spend too much time on this one, but there is a movement of people who sort of believe that Mexico should reclaim what was formerly part of Mexico. So the states that we have now, Texas, California, everything that was part of Mexico should be reclaimed, and non-Mexican, not indigenous people living in these states should go back to the countries of their origin. So you bringing that up kind of mentioned that how these people believe, okay, this is the only way we'll be happy. Everyone else has to leave, go back to wherever you came from. And people were saying, okay, while that's nice, for many people who have been here probably since forever, they may not even know, oh, where do I come from? And then they were saying, and will the countries even accept these people? Like, say, for instance, I know I'm originally from Germany or whatever, can I go back?
Mm-hmm.
So you bringing up that sort of that how they only present like a drastic option brought that to my mind, because there are some people where it's like, well, this is what we want, just leave now because you shouldn't be here with. And that is a very drastic option, because for many people, well, where do I come from? Do I even have family there? Can I move? So these problems that are presented as a result of like colonization, people moving in, people being forced out. Well, how do you address these issues now? People who are sort of the aftermath, for lack of a better term, of these issues, well, how do they deal with it? So in a way, I could kind of see, I mean, I do appreciate that they addressed it. I can kind of see the point how it's very drastic and dramatic, but I see both sides. To me, it kind of makes sense, because there are people that take that hard stance where this is what you have to do. we were like, well, let's find a middle ground. I did like that they introduced the Samis people. And then when I first heard, oh, they're going to bring the native peoples, I'm like, who were native to like these? I was like, native. Oh, and I realized, oh, the Samis. Because I was trying to figure out like what native people are they bringing in? You know, 'cause this takes place in Denmark. Because I was like,
right.
what are they bringing in? And yeah, and I heard about Samis a few years ago, and like I love their traditional dress, their language, their way of singing is very fascinating. And they actually had at one point there were Sami peoples who came to this indigenous gathering. I don't know what it was for, like with the whole thing of Flint, Michigan. I think it was like in support of the people trying to protest the frack or what. I think it was. And they had like, they did some songs, they encouraged people like, you know, to sing along or whatever. So I remember it was very nice. And I think they also showed up for like in support of Standing Rock as well. Very interesting. I wonder, I'm curious how much of the culture is accurately reflected in the film.
Well, I mean, I read,
curious.
National Geographic. I actually remember where this was from. Yay. Had like this photographer lived with them, and there's this whole photo essay about the people and their culture, and you know, and how they were nomadic and they lived in these tents, and they still will have these tents, but they're less nomadic now. And more of the children are going to college, and less are coming back, and their ways are changing. And you know, like, and that global warming has made it that the grasses that the reindeer would eat that's under snow now is more under ice. There's a hard shell of ice around it from melting and refreezing, and they can't get to it without more help. And you know, so that cultural impacts of you know, our ever shrinking world with technology and global warming is really taking quite a hit from that. But it, you know, they're very dependent on reindeer, you know, for meat. They sell the meat, they eat the meat, they sell the meat to butchers for income. They use, you know, leather, they use every single part of the animal. So there is a lot of, you know, it's true in that in the interspecies dependence, like the reindeer totally depend on them. They totally depend on the reindeer. And my daughter actually pointed out, like, they're eating reindeer. And I was like, yeah, they do. They farm the reindeer, and the reindeer depend on them, and they depend on the reindeer. And I don't think she'd ever really thought of such a close connection.
Yeah, because for many parts of the world, that connection that once was there between people and nature has been lost, or it's not as deep as it once was. And then of course there are other cultures where that still very much is the case, where there's a deep connection with the land and with the animals around them. But
and my husband, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. I love the, I thought they were so cute.
Oh, they're so cute. My husband pointed out at the end, which I didn't really get, and it does play on this theme, that whether or not the town people were connected with nature, it was never really shown before the unveiling of the statue. And then, you know, and then the wind comes and Anna talks to it, and you know, that's more of a connection with nature, maybe due to this experience.
It's possible, because both cultures were closed off. But now you get the sense that because the veil has been lifted, that both cultures, assuming, are going to have more interactions with one another, like hopefully remain, you know, separate. I mean, one would assume now that those sort of boundaries have been lifted, that there will be more community. And plus, since the sisters are like each ruling. Well, I don't know. Is Elsa ruling the other people? That wasn't very clear.
That was kind of left vague.
Yeah, like
Why she stayed, what she's doing there. I mean, I think it's because she's closer to Atahalan,
Yeah.
maybe. But I have a lot of questions about the Atahalan scenes. So, I was very curious. Like, okay, so there's that beautiful show yourself, and then there's the questionable duet with mom, because I think that the mom might have originally had the same kind of powers or something, or her connection with the people of the North Uldra had something to do with it, because everybody, and like at first like the dad says, I heard a voice, and I said, why does he hear the voice? And then it's reported that everybody heard that before the war, like as everybody's like at war, everybody heard that. And then all of the spirits were like, oh no, now we're all in a fight. So, I don't know why everybody heard it then. And so that, like, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's what made me think at first that the voice was something sinister, because the way that scene plays out, because and all of a sudden a voice was heard, and then the clash of steel. So I thought, is the voice something sinister? Is the voice basically what is causing this conflict because they don't appreciate what's going on? Like that.
Well, they didn't know. I mean, they didn't know that the king killed their leader. They only found that out from Elsa, like going deep into Atahalan and then freezing, and then sending, like she like shot up her hand and sent that ice sculpture to Anna, so that Anna could break down the dam. And Elsa thought she was dying. So but I don't understand why she was dying. Like, I don't understand. That was not clear, and it made me unhappy. Like, she's going through all of her memories, and then she's like, she goes deep down to see the rest of the vision, but I wish that was clear in the symbolism, like other than just like, oh, see, the scary line in the lullaby is actually true.
Yeah, one person who was reviewing it saw it as basically when you dive deep, not into your subconscious, but you basically, when you take the plunge into discovering who you are, there may be aspects that are difficult. So maybe that's sort of the reason why she sort of freezes herself, is because she can't yet handle what she's learned about.
Right. Well, it's her civic memory. It's not a memory about herself, but it's kind of a shift in the way she's thought about her family. And so I can see that.
I didn't pay attention to the whole statue reveal because because it's not shown. This is a deleted scene. There's a deleted scene where Anna is like singing about her love for the town, and she comes across a statue of her grandfather with like his sword extended and mimics the action. So basically in the center of the town, there was a statue of the grandfather, and they replace it with mother and father. But I don't recall seeing the statue in the second film, unless I completely missed it.
It might be during the Some Things Never Change song.
Oh, okay.
Just gonna look at that because I do remember they're around something, but I don't know. I'm never gonna get that in time, so I'm gonna give up on this.
But it was just interesting
before it even starts.
How they changed the statue.
Well, I mean, and I think that that's something that we're seeing in the United States too. As we realize that a lot of the people that were purported as heroes were purported as heroes by the winners. And and that as a country, especially after 2020, maybe as a country we're ready to kind of look more critically at the people we hail as heroes. Like, Christopher Columbus has been, there's been, this argument for years now. And still, though, I have to say, like, those are not lessons that seep down to elementary school. Like all that is done on my side when mommy gets political ranting going on. So, poor Ellie gets a lot of mommy's political ranting. But I did like, I saw in my notes at the end, and when Anna's running from the rock creatures, and Kristoff like grabs her and she goes, "We got to go to the dam," and he says, "Whatever you need." And there were no questions asked. Like he trusted her. He trusted her to do what she needed to do, and that's a trust that Elsa always gets. Like she always, like, oh, okay, well, you know what's best. And I believe Anna says, "My love is not fragile," to Elsa, and or Elsa says it to Anna. Either way, it's an interesting point that you're not. Oh, hold on. I don't think so. Oh, he does. You're right. You see, that's the good thing about having your husband listen to your podcast in the other room. Kristoff says it to Anna. And were you saying that too, Lou? Or no? Okay. But yeah, I did. Anybody saying my love is not fragile is awesome. But the fact that after this whole time of getting like really super dissed on the proposal thing, that he's not like going all, like, well, no, I give up. Like, you had your chance. Like he's very understanding and very comfortable in his masculinity, which is something that I remember from the first movie. It's a nice change for Disney. That like very emotionally available, not terribly afraid to look foolish kind of guy. So, oh, go on.
No, I just, I think I've made all the points I wanted to, so I don't really have any concluding remarks, but I do agree. It is nice to see portrayals of men who can be vulnerable, and it's not like the world's going to end.
Right.
A deal, like the world won't end in fire and flame if you cry, so it is a nice, refreshing change. So I think I'm just going to end it on that note. I definitely would recommend that you watch it. I know my mom watched it before I did, and she loved it. The music is still good. I love the Into the Unknown more so than Let It Go. So yeah.
You're getting some surprised eyes from Lou. I don't know if you saw. You got some.
No, I'm sorry, Lou. What's going on?
That Let It Go song is real catchy.
It is.
The Build a Snowman song, real catchy.
Which one?
Build a Snowman. Do you want to?
Oh yeah, of course.
Real catchy tunes. That Into the Unknown song, I thought it was just trying too hard. Or I'll be honest with you. I think I'm starting not to like Idina Menzel. I feel like after the first Frozen, her head kind of blew up a little bit.
Wouldn't yours?
Oh.
But I sound just like her in the shower, so I have to say, like, she's my people.
Oh, yeah. It could be true. Like every time I think of Idina Menzel, I just think about what's his name when he completely massacred the pronunciation of her name.
John Travolta.
Yes, I always think of that when I think of Idina Menzel. Like
I missed this.
Yeah, basically he was introducing her in an award show, and I don't even know what he called her. It was so far from Idina Menzel. And just his overall behavior was bizarre. Like when she came up to the podium, he was like, I think I don't know if he said I love this one. It was very bizarre behavior, but it
Yikes.
became a running joke. Like, so every time I think about her, I just think of that moment with John Travolta. But yeah, I think also for me, the reason why I love Into the Unknown, well, Let It Go was definitely a power ballad, but I love the vocalizations that are occurring throughout Into the Unknown, and I think that's why it appeals to me more. It's otherworldly.
Mhm.
But I mean, I like it. I mean, the other songs I'm sort of blah about. I don't really care about the other songs, but Into the Unknown I really love. And then Let It Go was, I remember I was recording my niece and I was doing it secretly, and she was singing it as it was playing, and she was very young and I was recording her, and she was really like giving it her all, and it was yeah. So it reminds me of my niece because my niece loved it.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we were karaokeing this, and my dog howled for the first time when I was singing. I was belting it out, and it was just like, oh.
Oh, and to end on that note, before we close, I just wanted to let you both know there's a recording that went viral of this man singing. I forgot the song he sings, and his donkey starts singing along with him. It is the cutest thing ever because he sings the Simba, the introduction to the Simba Broadway song. I love that's like an epic sort of power ballad because someone dared him to do that, and he says, "Well, you dared me, I'm going to do it." So he just starts belting that intro song, and his donkey just starts. I guess they call it braying or baying, and he's full at it. The donkey, it's like the cutest thing ever. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I don't know if you guys have seen the Lost in the Woods Weezer video or heard it.
No.
It is awesome. It is awesome. And they got they got why can't I remember her name? Anna, the woman that plays her.
Oh, I don't even know.
What was it, Lou?
Right?
You keep going out.
Oh, Kristen Bell.
Yes, Kristen Bell. They have her dressed up as Anna. They're doing the whole video. And like the band, in one of them is, the lead singer is Christoph, and the rest of them are like lined up behind him like the reindeer. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Okay. I will have to check that out now.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to us. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.